Welcome to PAYAMJAVAN TV. Today we have a special guest, Mirkarimi. Welcome to PAYAMJAVAN TV.
Well, thank you so much.
He's been serving the community since 1990. That's what you have.
That's what Wikipedia says.
Okay. Ross is a sheriff of San Francisco since 2012, and prior of being a sheriff, he served on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, representing District 5 from 2005 through 2011.
That's correct.
Yeah. And then he grew up in Jamestown, Rhode Island, and he started the Green Politics. Is that
the actual third party, the Green Party?
Green Party
in the United States, yeah.
And his credits go for social justice and nonviolence. That's basically green.
Very broad, but yes.
Okay. He has a bachelor's degree in political science from San Luis University, master's degrees in international economics and affairs from Golden State University, and master's of science degree in environmental science from the University of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he lived in San Francisco since 1984, and he's married and he has a son. Also, he co-founded a Green Party of California back in 1990, and in March 2010, he became a Democrat, acknowledging that he would be unable to advance his career unless you take sides, right?
Maybe.
Okay. As a supervisor, Ross sponsored legislation in a wide range of areas, including medicinal marijuana, mm-hmm. and also crime, street safety, efficiency of city department, and the environment. He received national attention in 2007 when he introduced the first legislation prohibiting the use of non-biodegradable plastic bags by large supermarkets and drugstores, making San Francisco the first city to do so. Is that? We're on the right path. All right. What would you like to run as a sheriff?
Well, I plan to run for re-election as sheriff of San Francisco, the city and county, and we should establish the fact that I'm the first sheriff of Iranian descent, Iranian-American sheriff in the United States, especially of a major city. So when my election occurred in 2011 as sheriff for the city and county, that was a significant milestone for, I think, the Iranian-American community. And the community had been there with me in the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond when I ran for supervisor, often known as a city council seat, but we don't have a city council in San Francisco. We have a board of supervisors. And I represented the 5th district, which is famously part of Haight-Ashbury that people know, and Fillmore and Japantown, very diverse district. And it really prepared me because of my law enforcement background before I was a supervisor, where I worked 9 years for the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, specializing in white-collar crime and environmental crime. And before that, I was, long ago, a graduate of the San Francisco Police Academy, class president, where I began to hone in on my interest of focusing on social injustices, especially in the criminal justice system, yes. Tackling poverty, which in some parts of the district when I was a supervisor, there was pockets of that, San Francisco style, and then folding that into really making a criminal justice system more innovative. A lot of people will know that I had a very tough start as sheriff, very high profile, sort of problem where I had to fight to stay sheriff, me and the community. And I feel like in the time that I have spent serving as sheriff, we have got some incredible things done. We are now one of the most undercrowded jail systems in the United States. just occurred over the last few years, where our jail population is declining rapidly. And it doesn't mean that crime is going up correspondingly. What it means is that finally less people are returning to jail.
I heard that you've been doing some program for inmates to reduce that anger or frustration that they have in jail, or
Sure.
something in that regard.
It's unique to San Francisco Sheriff's Department and our jail system. And by the way, I should explain, as sheriff for the city and county of San Francisco, I'm the elected law enforcement officer. That's the way it is for sheriffs in the United States. Every county, they elect the sheriff. A police chief is appointed, so that's a big difference. And we have very different kinds of jurisdiction. I have a budget of about $190 million. I have a staff of over 1,100. Half is applied towards working in the jail system and that infrastructure, the other half to the other law enforcement duties that we carry out. My predecessor, who served as sheriff in San Francisco for 32 years, Mike Hennessy, really innovated some of these anti-violence and reentry programs while people were in custody. That made me a fan of him, and we got to know each other as I was moving through my public service. And when I ran for sheriff and he supported me to succeed him, I said I'm going to magnify and amplify what he did, and we are. So we have programs that are specialized for veterans that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and if they get implicated in the criminal justice system, are incarcerated, we want to work on the issues that that really vex them, affect them and society, well as people working on anti-violence, strong behavioral health, mental health, psychiatric inside, and a number of others. We have the first high school in the United States in our county jail system. Prisons might have schools. County jails never did have a certified public high school. We have a charter high school known as 5 Keys in the San Francisco jail system. That has contributed to our ability to really prepare people for release with the kind of skill that they may have not gotten, from other places, and hopefully do whatever we can to make sure that they just don't return. And I think that that's one of the reasons why our population is declining.
It's declining.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. That makes you best fit for this job. I vote for you.
Well, thank you. Got to move to San Francisco.
That's arrangeable.
Okay.
Okay. How have you been preparing yourself for this position?
Well, boy, me and my family have prepared ourselves from this position in many ways. And referring to the kind of rough start that I had as sheriff, that also sensitized me in ways to the people that I actually preside over in custody. And what I mean by that is, I think that why we're there and why I want to be there is help people right their wrongs, and to effectively demonstrate, I think, their ability to, prepare themselves to come back into society. And and the criminal justice system can be tough. Getting back into society can be tough. And so people may have, which they do in this country, a high likelihood of reoffending. In the state of California, the repeat offender rate was 78%. That means nearly 8 out of 10 people would constantly repeat their crime after getting out of prison. And that trickled down into county jail systems. So there needs to be this very aggressive focus on bringing down repeat offender rates. And that's really what I've been making a mainstay of my administration so far.
Wonderful. So let's go back a little bit. What prompted you to start your career as a law enforcement?
It's not about law enforcement per se as much as it was about public service. When my father immigrated here from Iran and started to put himself through school in Chicago, he started out as a security guard for the YMCA in a very well-known Chicago YMCA downtown, and that's where they're going to school, met my mother. And he stayed with the YMCA for nearly 40 years until he passed away. And you can't help not be exposed to that philosophy of trying to help community.
So your dad had a major influence in your life too.
Mother and father.
Mother
yeah,
and father.
And parents. I think it's true of immigrant communities that they work within their community and then they also try to give back. And I think that sense of wanting to give back in their new homeland is something I grew up with and just applied it in a different direction.
Yeah, wonderful. So where are your strengths as a sheriff?
I'm very compassionate, but I'm firm in exercising what I campaigned on in 2011 in my run for sheriff, and that's the power of redemption. I believe that, and this is before anything, but I've always believed that the criminal justice system in the United States has been an utter failure because it's always been built on the model of retribution, of vengeance. And while it's important to hold people accountable, it's proven its failings by the constant repeat offenders and our inability to reform people's behavior and help them reform themselves. So having a more redemptive quality in understanding where the criminal justice system has not applied it, I think gives us better hope that we can really work with complicated and careerist criminals so that they're less likely to reform. In our small world of San Francisco, we really are beginning to see evidence of that. And I don't think it's just a fluke. I don't think it's a fad. I think we might be on to a better trend.
Do you think that enough education has been given to people about the new laws and things?
Recently, Prop 47 passed in the state of California, and it was a significant proposition. And what it did was, in fact, it was the San Francisco District Attorney who co-sponsored it going in the state ballot. And it was well opposed by law enforcement, but I supported it. And what it did was knock down a narcotics felony to a misdemeanor. And many district attorneys and law enforcement didn't like that. See, I think that that's one of the cornerstones of where this country's criminal justice system, California and in San Francisco, until not that long ago, too many people are incarcerated for narcotics possession. There are alternative programs when we can put somebody through like drug diversion, drug court, better rehabilitation, a fraction of the cost of being in custody, and get even better results. And so by thinning out folks, like what Prop 47 tries to do, is you shouldn't be there for that kind of offense. We can do something better.
I just noticed it was like 3 days ago, I saw in the news that some of the police officers are saying that there's been numerous accidents on the roads because of people being under the influence of marijuana.
Probably.
Yeah. Is there any law is going to be set up just like for alcohol, you know, they have DUI?
It's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, this isn't anarchy. And just because there is a growing movement to normalize marijuana and its usage and legalize, decriminalize and then legalize, they're just like alcohol. There's going to have to be the same level of public safety protocols. But this is a new frontier. It hasn't happened.
It's majorly happening before it even, any law is passed, right? I mean,
yeah.
You see a lot of them are out in the street and they kill or either they get killed in the accidents, and it's...
Well, that's a public safety problem, and that has to be dealt with, and it's a public health problem too, and that has to be dealt with. So just because there may be more liberation, there still has to be, I think, the mindfulness that people are not going to get hurt in this process.
Wonderful. Okay, what makes you a better candidate running for sheriff?
Well, I just think I'm more effective, and I know that I have a reputation for pushing the envelope, and you know, testing bounds that make, I think, our department more innovative, one of the most in the country. But also sticking by my, you know, by my principles that this is the way we have to go. Sheriffs, generally speaking, are very, you know, they don't always go that direction. One, it's counterculture for the most part to how sheriffs and law enforcement has been. And two, they themselves are not well supported by their governments, their local or regional governments, to make those kind of inroads either. And so this is where thought processes have to sort of evolve.
Are you working on something that is very unique, that if by any chance you don't get reelected, that you would feel like, you know, you lost a movement or something that you're currently doing and you don't want it to go away?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, loss of anything that you put your heart and mind into, I mean, is felt and felt deeply. But let's hope I don't have to answer your question. And let's just work towards that.
I just want to know, I mean, something that you
I don't mean to be such a downer, but...
No, I'm just saying, there's something that you have great passion right now that you're working on, that
yeah, but
you wanted to continue.
I mean, it's, yeah, in some capacity, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
Can I tell folks how to get a hold of me? Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
please, yes.
I apologize for interrupting. But if folks would like to communicate with me, maybe you can put my card
well, you
on
just
there.
say it. We're going to put it underneath.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
So, my card to the world. So, Ross Mirkarimi, Mirkarimi, Sheriff for the City and County of San Francisco. Email me, ross.mirkarimi @sf, as in San Francisco, governmentgov.org, O-R-G. And I'll answer any of your questions. And people want to write to me in Persian, Farsi, then I'll
translate.
I'll figure it. I'll answer it too.
Thank you very much, Ross. I really appreciate you coming today and visiting us, and I look forward seeing you again and doing more programs like this for public awareness and people to know what kind of activities you're doing. That, you know, we wanna have you in this position as long as you know it takes. But the major thing that you said, the passion that you have for people and the programs, you know, to keep violence low out there in the streets and so on. So I think you are a great asset to this community and to these people here, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. I would like to thank you all for watching this program, and we look forward to seeing you again.
تبلیغات شما با بخش بازرگانی پیام جوان رساتر از همیشه، فراتر از مرزها، همراه با آخرین تکنولوژی روز در مجله، اینترنت، تلویزیون و تلفن همراه برای همگان قابل دسترسی است. با ما باشید تا همیشه جوان باشید.